ourselves then. We've got to do the work ourselves, folks. Come on, it'll be worth it. Investigation into alleged gatherings on government premises during COVID restrictions update. Okay. Oh, this is very basic, isn't it? To start off with, anyway. 8th of December, Prime Minister asked Cabinet Secretary to carry out an investigation into allegations reported in the media related to gatherings in number 10 Downing Street and the Department for Education during November and December 2020. Then the Cabinet Secretary recused himself from the investigation as a result of allegations concerning an online quiz held by his private office. It was at this point I was asked to lead this work, so this is from the perspective of Sue Gray. First person perspective of Sue Gray then. You're going to have to stream this again at 3:30. Very true. Well, we're going to have the statement, aren't we? So this is it in full. So appreciate folks that just made me aware of this. So this is it in black and white, and then we can see what bullshit Boris Johnson spins that into. But yeah, you're right, 916. We'll have this version, and then we'll have that version. If that isn't, if it even is at 3:30, I imagine probably get delayed. He keeps delaying his speeches. He knows I'm streaming. He knows I'm streaming. That's the thing. 916. He knows I'm streaming, so he keeps delaying his speeches. Did Sue post a Wordle in there? That's the question. If there's not a fucking Sue Gray's not got Wordle 227, 226 in there today, then I'm going to be very disappointed indeed. The terms of reference for this investigation. Right, hang on. Here we go. So the events in scope. 15th of May 2020, photograph showing number of groups in the garden of number 10 Downing Street. 20th of May, the gathering in the garden of number 10 Downing Street for number 10 staff. June 2020, look how many there are. June 2020, gathering in the Cabinet Office on the departure of number 10's private secretary. 19th of June 2020, gathering in the Cabinet Room on the Prime Minister's birthday. All of these against lockdown rules, by the way. November 2020, gathering in the number 10 Downing Street flat. Gathering in the number 10 Downing Street on the departure of a special advisor. There's fucking loads of them. There's loads of them. Right. Methodology. We don't need that, do we? Do we? Oh, here we go. It is not for me to make a judgment on whether the criminal law has been broken. Sorry, what? Alright, fine. Alright, fine. That is a matter for law enforcement. Even though law enforcement have told you to take vital parts of this report out. In lines of my terms of reference, I have been in regular contact with the Met Police as my work is processed in order for them to take decisions on the gatherings under examination, including whether to launch their own investigation. Fine, sure. The Met Police has now confirmed that as a result of the information provided by the Cabinet Office investigation team, as well as assessments made by the Met Police officers, they are investigating the events on the dates set out above, with the exemption of the gatherings on 15th of May, November, December and 15th. So the 15th of May is the photograph showing a number of groups in the garden of number 10 Downing Street. So that's the wine and cheese party. So they're not investigating the wine and cheese party. Interesting. Police have confirmed that on the basis of the information available, the gatherings on these 4 dates are not considered to have reached a threshold for criminal investigation, leaving about 10 that do. No conclusions should be drawn or inferences made from this other than it is now for the police to consider the relevant material in relation to those incidents. What we're saying, what we're thinking, what we're feeling. They're going to do the Spider-Man meme for this. She's just investigating and presenting the facts, not making judgments. And that is fair enough. I think I'm getting quite hyped quite early. She says bugger all. Hey Entrama, how you doing? The Boris Johnson report has been published. The Sue Gray investigation into lockdown parties. Are you excited? So many, ain't there? ADHD designer. The amount of investigation that has to be done here alone doesn't fucking look great, does it? You reckon they're fucked, Catherine? Oh, I'm excited. Here we go. Right, so this is methodology. I am scanning a little bit. This is the controversial point, of course. As a result of the Met Police's investigations, and so as not to prejudice the police investigative process, they have told me it would only be appropriate to make minimal reference to the gatherings on the dates they are investigating. So as not to prejudice the police investigative process. Again, lawyers on Twitter, which I know shouldn't be your go-to source of information for anything, but has to be said that lawyers on Twitter think that that's bollocks. And that's my understanding as well. It's not a court case that's underway, it's just a crime that the police happen to be investigating. Why can't you give facts? Because like you say, 916, it's just investigating and presenting the facts, not making any judgments. Why don't the police want to know all of the facts of the matter? Anyway, right, unfortunately, this there you go, that's telling, isn't it? Unfortunately, I can read into this all I want, can't I? This necessarily means I'm extremely limited in what I can say about those events. It's not possible at present to provide a meaningful report, setting out and analysing the extensive factual information I've been able to gather. Cheers, police. In respect of the gatherings that the Met Police has assessed as not reaching the threshold for criminal investigation, they have not requested any limitations be placed on the description of those events. However, I have decided not to publish factual accounts in relation to these 4 dates. I do not feel that I am able to do so without detriment to the overall balance of the findings. Sorry. What's that? Detriment to the overall balance of the findings. Does that mean it will make... Hang on. Does that mean it will make them look too bad? Because that's what that sounds like. How you doing, Maria? Don't refer to it as the wine and cheese party, so don't tell it like it is, or they might be forced to pull their finger out when it's obvious the rules were breached. Yeah, that's what it sounds like, doesn't it? It sounds like I don't want to make them look too bad. Why not do details of those 4 other things? Exactly. Okay. Alright, we'll press on then. More generally, I did consider whether it would be better to pause, as provided for the terms of reference, and wait until the conclusion of the police investigation before publishing anything. However, given the widespread public interest in and concern about these matters, and to avoid further delay, I'm providing an update on the investigation, and I'm setting out some general findings now. I have not made comment on whether individual gatherings were in line with the relevant guidance and regulations in place at the time. I did not judge it appropriate to do so given the police investigating that is now underway. Right, so this is an update without an update, right? Context, so this is explaining the pandemic for anybody that's been under a rock. General findings, here we go. Against the backdrop of the pandemic, when the government was asking citizens to accept far-reaching restrictions on their lives, some of the behaviour surrounding these gatherings is difficult to justify. At least some of the gatherings in question represent a serious failure to observe not just the high standards expected of those working at the heart of the government, but also of the standards expected of the entire British population at the time. At times it seems there was too little thought given to what was happening across the country in considering the appropriateness of some of these gatherings, the risks they presented to public health, and how they might appear to the public. There were failures of leadership and judgment by different parts of Number 10 and the Cabinet Office at different times. Some of the events should not have been allowed to take place. Other events should not have been allowed to develop as they did. Failures of leadership and judgment by different parts of Number 10. She's not going to name names, is she? She's clearly not going to go Prime Minister, Health Secretary, etc, etc, etc. Clearly this is going to be a bit vague. Will it ever be less vague? I don't know. In this general update, it's definitely vague. The excessive consumption of alcohol is not appropriate in a professional workplace at any time. Steps must be taken to ensure that every government department has a clear and robust policy in place covering the consumption of alcohol in the workplace. There you go, there's an action. Actions from the meeting. Clear and robust policy in place. So you mean cabinet ministers shouldn't get civil servants to go out to the co-op supermarket and fill a suitcase full of wine bottles? That's not meant to happen in the government building. Interesting. Okay, we're learning something here, folks. The use of the garden at number 10 Downing Street should be primarily for the Prime Minister and the private residents of number 10 and number 11 Downing Street. During the pandemic, it was often used as an extension of the workplace as a more COVID-secure means of holding group meetings in a ventilated space. Group meetings in a ventilated space? She's talking about the wine and cheese party, isn't she? It wasn't a fucking group meeting in a ventilated space. Nobody was taking minutes. This was a sensible measure that staff appreciated, but the garden was also used for gatherings without clear authorization or oversight. This was not appropriate. Any official access to the space, including for meetings, should be by invitation only and in a controlled environment. Gatherings without clear authorization or oversight. Okay, alright, okay, so am I judging too harshly? So she's acknowledging that group meetings were held, but also used for gatherings without clear authorization. Okay. My throat just cracked like I was about 13 years old, so I'm just going to have to drink some water. It's a plethora of words and quite a few pages to say what amounts to basically nothing. Also do as we say, not as we do. Wonder what they consider excessive. I don't think we're going to get the detail of that, are we? Standing by my prediction, police will take the brunt of this and Cresta Dick will be sacked, leaving Boris and co safe. I would be amazed if they threw forward Cresta Dick as a sacrificial lamb. Weirder things have happened though, haven't they? Other events, undescribed events. The 4. Someone did suggest the police didn't want certain facts to be reported until they had interviewed people. Otherwise it gives people information they can use to not look dodgy. I think splitting up a pair of criminals to find both sides of the story first. Like a serial killer, where you don't say what the victim was wearing, because only the killer will know. That kind of thing. She's shat it, basically, and leaving it someone else. If this is all we get, that's fucking scandalous. So much corruption. 8 pints is okay, but 10 is excessive. Okay, some staff wanted to raise concerns about behaviours they witnessed at work, but at times felt unable to do so. No members of staff should feel unable to report or challenge poor conduct when they witness it. There should be easier ways for staff to raise concerns informally, outside of the line management chain. It's all HR bullshit, isn't it now? The number of staff working in number 10 Downing Street has steadily increased in recent years. In terms of size, scale and range of responsibility, it's now more akin to a small government department than purely a dedicated Prime Minister's office. Is that taking blame away from Johnson, do you think? The structures that support the smooth operation of Downing Street, however, have not evolved sufficiently to meet the demands of this expansion. The leadership structures are fragmented and complicated, and this has sometimes led to the blurring of lines of accountability. Too much responsibility and expectation is placed on the senior official, whose principal function is the direct support of the Prime Minister. This should be addressed as a matter of priority. Right, the conclusion. So, this is the last thing before we've got the annexes, which is, what, appendix information, essentially. So this is the last pertinent point then. Conclusion. The gatherings within the scope of this investigation are spread over a 20-month period, a period that has been unique in recent times in terms of the complexity and breadth of the demands on public servants and indeed the general public. The whole of the country rose to the challenge. Ministers, special advisors and the civil service, of which I am proud to be a part, were a key and dedicated part of that national effort. However, as I have noted, a number of these gatherings should not have been allowed to take place or to develop in the way that they did. There is significant learning to be drawn from these events, which must be addressed immediately across government. This does not need to wait for the police investigations to be concluded. That's an interesting ending sentence there. This does not need to wait for the police investigations to be concluded. So, opposition parties will be jumping on that line, of course, because that's the one that says, go ahead. If you want to take action against Johnson, don't need to wait around for Cressida Dick and co. You can just go ahead and do that. Don't need to wait around for Cressida Dick and her fellow officers. Just plough ahead with that one. What do we think to that, folks? We finally got it. Doesn't it feel so underwhelming? Police evidence won't meet threshold prosecution, and it will be done. It's now up to the police, isn't it? Unless she follows up with, this seems like she said, you know, I wanted to give an update because there's a lot of public interest. That kind of implies that there'll be like a big detailed report afterwards, doesn't it? If this is the update. But if it's just over to the police now, basically, is that it? They shouldn't feel uncomfortable reporting it because nothing will be done about it anyway. Yeah. Yeah, essentially. I know the police will in a month say we found no evidence of wrongdoing, and then we'll be told to move on. Categorically, I consider the matter closed. We'll get that one, won't we? You're at work, Yarrick. Comes out today and says we'll review the report and improve our structures and procedures. Yeah. There's no sense of blame for any particular individuals or even group of individuals. And what does worry me is lines like this. The number of staff working in number 10 Downing Street has steadily increased in recent years. In terms of size, scale and range of responsibility, it is now more akin to a small government department than purely a dedicated Prime Minister's office. That sentence to me removes blame from Boris Johnson. I think that will be interpreted as, oh, it's a collective responsibility across government. Johnson is not the green light for these things, which of course he is. It's on his watch. He's already said that himself. The idea that it's kind of responsibility is dissipated across government, across into everybody's fucking, it's ridiculous. So that's my worry with this, is that it will be interpreted in a loophole fashion to get certain people out of the way, out of the line of fire. But then, like I say, it does also leave it open to opposition parties to be able to add some pressure, which is a good thing, because in no way or shape or form is this closed as a matter at all. Blurred authority bit seems basically they all Spider-Man memed and pointed fingers at each other over who gave the okay to hold piss-ups at work. It can't be established who had the final say. They can make excuses, and it's unclear who can be charged. We need to improve our structures. Cop out. Yeah. It does sound very, yeah, office incident, doesn't it? HR. It's a HR response. Does feel underwhelming, and she says what they did was wrong. However, there is a lot of backtrack on who's responsible, and the only person to be named is the Prime Minister's aide. Yeah. Who will most likely, I suppose, resign. Michael, what's his name? Isn't it Matthew or Michael, somebody? who invited 100 people into the garden in the first place. How long did this report take to produce 1 page of findings? Well, this is what we get after, what, a month? Start of the year, wasn't it? Apparently one of the parties being investigated is a party in Johnson's flat, so directly related to him personally. Well, that's true. Yeah, and I don't think that was removed from... Let's have a look. Was that removed from the list? The ones that they've taken off here are 15th of May, so we know that was wine and cheese. Then we've got 27 November, 10 December, 15 December. So 27... So 27 November, that's a gathering in the Downing Street on the departure of a special advisor. 10th of December, 2020, a gathering in the Department for Education ahead of the Christmas break. And then 15th of December, a gathering in number 10 Downing Street for an online Christmas quiz. Live from the gutter, we made it. Thank you very much for the follow. So those are the ones. Police officers, they're investigating the events on the date set out above, with the exception of the gatherings on. So these are the ones that they are not investigating as part of their investigation. Right. So they are investigating the flat party. That's what I interpret that as. The paper on the benefits of Brexit has been published also today. The anniversary of Brexit, of course. The other dead cat that Boris Johnson is swinging around his head. Apologies for that image. Trying to distract us from anything to do with this. Pure coincidence, of course. Oh, really? That happens to fall on the day which I talk about this thing that divides the country and got me into office. It's truly scandalous. What's the Guardian's take? We got any reactions? Snap reactions to this? Gray admits report does not provide meaningful account of Partygate because of omissions requested by police. Yeah, we read that. Gray reveals 12 gatherings at number 10 and in Cabinet Office now being investigated by the police. Right. Just got some kind of snippets from it. No reactions yet, it seems. Nikki DaCosta, who worked as Director of Legislative Affairs in number 10 for Theresa May and Boris Johnson, says that if the government tries to avoid publishing the full Sue Gray report once the police inquiry is over, Labour will force a vote on that matter. Yeah, and so they should. So Stephen Swinford here. Oh, here we go. This is going to be after the stream. I knew it would be. I knew this would get delayed. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, no. This is just him addressing MPs. Boris Johnson will address the all-Tory MPs. The all-Tory MPs at 6:30 PM this evening. That matters because it means the entire payroll, ministers, aides, etc. will be present rather than just 1922 backbenchers. The 1922 committee is the committee of Tory MPs that oversees how the whole fucking machine is run. That's who get the letters of no confidence. Prime Minister clearly determined to ensure biggest show of support possible. Hype men. He's gathering hype men. Oh, to be fair, murdering a cat is a lot worse than having a birthday party. To be fair, it is. True. All I can think of now is that cat with the sushi roll being swung by a moth. Love the ear protectors. Okay then. That's an interesting take as well. Caroline Lucas. Yeah, that's an interesting... Still no Sue Gray report for MPs to read. So this was at 2 PM. So that was an hour ago. Now there's less than 2 hours before PM statement. Maybe it's been gutted so much they've decided we don't need that much time to read it. I think that's quite true as well. Thank you for the follow, Maria. Gritty, you're off to work? No worries at all. Thank you very, very much for modding today, and it's always lovely chatting to you. I hope work's alright. See you in a bit, mate. Folks, go and follow the fantastic Surfer McGree, won't you? Have I done the Wordle yet, Judgement? I did. I failed it. I fucking failed it. I didn't even get 6. Feels bad, man. How did you do? God, awful. I haven't failed it yet. I completely failed it. If you want to follow me on the Twitters, folks, on the Twitter sphere, there's a link. Okay, right. We fucking got it. We've got the Sue Gray report. So underwhelming. Felt incredibly underwhelmed. You haven't done it yet. It's a tough one. I mean, I'm only saying that because I lost. In reality, I don't know. I won't give anything away. I think you'll get it. Sushi roll cat. Okay. Right. Here we go. Here's the polls. Right beforehand. A Sue Gray delivers report / update to Downing Street. Ipsos Mori political monitor shows Keir Starmer open up an 18-point lead over Boris Johnson on who would make the most capable PM. That's interesting. Keir Starmer at 49 percentage points, Boris Johnson at 31. Huh, there you go. So for comparison, 11th of December 2019, Johnson at 43 and Jeremy Corbyn at 29. Starmer standing even higher above Johnson there. Higher than Theresa May in 2018, although we know how that went. Interesting. But then again, I mean, look, the Theresa May score shows just how off those polls can be, because that's when she lost her majority. You know, that was kind of, a lot of people predicted that. A lot of polls did predict that as a Tory landslide. And Jeremy Corbyn battered her, basically, essentially, politically. It was a complete turn up for the books. So keep that in mind. Here's another one. Who's that? Ipsos Mori again. Figures here. Does Boris Johnson have to have what it takes to be a good Prime Minister? On balance, do you agree that Boris Johnson has what it takes to be a good PM? 64% disagree. 23% agree. There you go. So, that, you know, they'll pay attention to these polls when they decide whether or not they're going to force him out. The question is, that's pre-report. What happens now? Is there going to be more support for Johnson in the public? Or less? I fear, in certain circles, this has probably got him off the hook. Boris looks like shit for a 31-year-old. Some event should never have happened and something that shouldn't have escalated. Yeah, that is a crucial line here. Hopefully people pay attention to that. Yeah. Entramo, you bet you get it in 4. Right. Prediction. Let's have a prediction, folks. Oh, by the way, what was the results of the prediction earlier? Am I wearing an AC/DC t-shirt? No, I'm not. So apologies. Whoever predicted yes. Sorry, that was right at the start of the stream. What am I like? This is why I can't do polls and predictions without the lovely help of mods. That's why. Right. Start a prediction. Will Entrama get Wordle in 4? Yes or no? 4 or less. 4 or less. Yes or no. So if he gets it in 5, that's no. I'll give you a minute to vote on that. Get yourself some channel points. All based on Entrima's arrogance. Right. So there you go. I'm not going to lean it either way. If you want, you can jump in the Discord if you want, folks. In the Wordle channel, you can see some of the past performances. Need to start structuring James's Wordle predictions like that. Gets most of them, so the odds are kind of skewed. But what did he get the other day too? Fucking unbelievable. I mean, he cheated, obviously, but it's still... Yes, it's still impressive. Right. Should have a couple more memes before we get back to news of the day. Let's let all the politicians react. Let's let Starmer make a statement. Let's let all the Tories make statements about the report. And then we'll jump back into it and see what the fuck's going on. Wanted a couple more memes. Let's give us a bit more of a break. We've had a lot of reading, haven't we? What's the prediction here? Fucking hell. What's that? Nearly everybody thinks that Entrima will get it in 4. Or is that 1 vote? That's 1 big vote. That is a lot of faith. Is that you? Is that you voting for yourself? Scandalous. James just watched Wheel of Fortune. It's not a secret technique. What's the show where there's that show where you press a button where things go round, and there's a documentary about how a guy like beat it. Do you remember? He like hacks it and he figures out if I press the button there when it stops the light goes around, I'm more likely to win that many. He ends up getting like thousands of dollars, doesn't he? But I think they take it away from him. What the fuck am I on about? What the fuck am I talking about?
Up inside my Pfizer Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Pfizer Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my got that vaccine up inside my life. I got that vaccine and I'm feeling just right. Got vaccine in my mind.
I want to see some Kenneth Copeland's in chat, folks.
Got that vaccine.
Come on.
Suck you clear. I got the vaccine. Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Pfizer Moderna, I got the vaccine. I got the motherfucking vaccine. Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Pfizer Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Pfizer Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Pfizer Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Pfizer Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Pfizer Moderna, I got the vaccine. I got that motherfucking come on, baby, got the vaccine. I said I got the vaccine. It's a new lease on life, baby. Skipping down the damn street, no thing. I'm taking a little spit in the mouth, spit in the dick, spit in my ass, spit on your tits. We rubbing it around, getting down in this motherfucker, baby. Got a vaccinated attitude, and I'm gonna rock and roll. I put the dick in the hole. Rock and roll, I put the dick in the hole, and Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my Moderna, I got the vaccine. Up inside my oh, baby, nothing you can tell me. I'm feeling good and I'm walking all around this bitch. I got the vaccine. Hey, yo, I'm motherfucking clean. I'm clean. I'm motherfucking clean with my vaccine. Yo, how you doing, baby? You got it?
I got my damn vaccine an hour ago. I got the second dose. You gotta wait. You have to wait 14 days though, so it's gonna be. I mean, I know it's kind of cool. You just saw me on the street, and I just got my vaccine, and you're vaccinated, but we gotta wait. There's a gestation period, so it's.
Oh, there's so we can't just fuck on the street. vaccinated. All vaccinated. All vaccinated. All vaccinated.
Shut. That's not appropriate. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. That's not appropriate. If people simply get on the beers, as best we can tell, the pub is shut. That's not appropriate. I can't be any clearer than that. That's what's most important. The pub, that's what's most important. Beers. We had a case last week. As best we can tell, the dinner party started with one case. By the end of the dinner party, almost everybody at the dinner party had a case of beers. If people simply take this seriously, rapidly, get on the beers. That's your civic duty. That's what's most important, and that's what must be done. Beers, get on the beers. Beers, get on the beers. Beers,
China.
By the way, what I'm trying to do, and once I did it once, I couldn't help myself doing it, is I keep trying to DJ and work something else in. I know it's not really working very well, but I find myself unable to resist doing it, so that's what that was.
Get on the beers. Take this seriously. Get on the beers. Rapidly. Get on the beers. That's your civic duty. Beers. Get on the beers. That's what's most important. Beers. That's what's most important. Beers. That's what's most important. Beers. And that's what must be done. Beers.
I can honestly say I never had a beer in my
Yeah,
life.
exactly.
Okay?
Bit of live DJ.
As best we can tell,
Thought I'd give it a go.
the pub is shut.
It didn't go too well.
That's not appropriate. I can't
Here we
be
go,
any
I'll work
clearer
another
than
one
that.
in.
That's what's most important.
Let me try
The
it
pub.
again.
That's what's most
Something else.
important. Beers. We had a case last week. As best we can tell, the dinner party started with one case. By the end of the dinner party, almost everybody at the dinner party had a case of beers. People simply take this seriously, rapidly. Get on the beers. That's your civic duty. That's what's most important, and that's what must be done.
Holy Spirit,
Beers.
activate.
Oh, no.
Holy
Beers.
Spirit,
Get on the
activate.
beers.
Holy
Beers.
Spirit, activate.
Beers. Get on the beers. Beers. Beers.
Come on, that was alright, wasn't it?
China.
Beers. Get on the beers. Take this seriously. Get on the beers. Rapidly. Get on the beers. That's your civic duty. Beers. Get on the beers. That's what's most important. Beers. That's what's most important. Beers. That's what's most important. Beers.
So you
And
can
that's
kind of
what
work it
must
in.
be done. Beers. Get on the beers.
Holy
Beers.
Spirit, activate.
Beers. Get on the beers.
work that well.
Beers.
China.
Beers. Get on the beers. Take this seriously. Get on the beers. Rapidly. Get on the beers. That's your civic duty. Beers. Get on the beers. That's what's most important.
No,
Beers.
fuck it.
That's what's most important.
Gave it a go.
Beers. That's what's most important. Beers. And that's what must be done.
Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate.
No, can't do it. Wrong time.
Holy Spirit.
on
Holy
the-
Spirit,
get on the
activate.
beers.
Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate.
I gave it a go. Live DJing. It could be like a whole thing. Live political meme DJing. Do you not think? Don't know. Entrim are judging me. My DJing skills. Well, let's have a look at your Wordle score, eh? That's what most important beers. Get on the beers. That's your civic duty. I feel like that's a message most Brits can get behind. We certainly could. That's your civic duty, beers. That's what's most important. You're going into the zone while you finish your Wordle. You're desperate for folks to win these channel points, aren't you? How are we looking? 4,000 points on yes there. Fucking hell. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith. Will it be repaid though? That's the question. Right, let's have a bit of this. Why not? Before we get back to the Sue Gray report. Remember this one? Anybody remember this one?
And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack. And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you know, you may say to yourself, well, how did I get here? You may ask yourself, what is that beautiful house? You may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? You may ask yourself,
Things were a lot simpler
am I
these
right? Am
days.
I wrong?
Back then.
And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done?
Remember? Pre-COVID. Still not sure
Same as it ever was.
devastating
Same as it
Donald
ever
Trump's going to be.
Same as it ever was. 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 Same as it ever was.
When the tears drop by on the water, hold me down. Right. Come on, let's get back to the news. So how many reactions have we had to the Sue Gray report yet? Have we had them from Keir Starmer? Have we had them from any Tory, senior Tory MPs? I don't know. I feel doubtful. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Sue Gray report, Downing Street parties find serious failure to observe high standards. So that's the line, isn't it? Hopefully that remains the headline. Who have we got? So that's still, the latest update from them is still extracts. They're still going with extracts. So we haven't had anybody's reaction since. Do I need to take to Twitter? Maybe I need to take to the twits to see what's going on. Hey, hashtag Sue Gray report. Let's see what we've got. Still can't see anything official, you know? Oh, here we go. Somebody's done a meme. At least we've got memes. In lieu of any solid journalism on the subject, at least we've got memes. Fucking hell, I haven't seen one of these for a while. Downing Street received Sue Gray report, part 1. Brilliant.
Im Süden hat der Gegner Zossen genommen und stößt auf Stahnsdorf vor. Der Feind operiert jetzt am nördlichen Stadtrand zwischen Frohnau und Pankow und im Osten ist der Feind bis zur Linie Lichtenberg, Marsdorf, Karlshorst gelangt.
They know about the suitcases of
Mit dem
wine.
Angriff Steiners wird das alles in Ordnung kommen.
Mein Führer, Steiner
Steiner konnte nicht genügend Kräfte für einen Angriff massieren. Der Angriff Steiner ist nicht erfolgt.
It's the glasses that always get me. Fucking great actor. Great actor.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jodel, Krebs und Butter. Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Wer schickt Sie? Dass Sie es wagen,
That's good. I like that.
So weit ist das also gekommen. Das Militär hat mich belogen! Jeder hat mich belogen, sogar die SS! Die gesamte Generalität ist nichts weiter als ein Haufen niederträchtiger, treuloser Feiglinge!
Mein Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie verbringen...
Nicht als Feiglinge! Verreiter, Versager!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich.
Die Generalität ist das Geschmeiß des deutschen Volkes! Sie ist ohne Ehre! Sie nennen sich Generale, weil Sie Jahre auf Militärakademien zugebracht haben, nur um zu lernen, wie man Messer und Gabel hält! Jahrelang hat das Militär meine Aktionen nur behindert! Es hat mir jeden nur ersichtlichen Widerstand in den Weg gelegt! Ich hätte gut daran getan, von Jahren alle höheren Offiziere liquidieren zu lassen, wie Stalin!
Brilliant. Big fan of that. Oh, here we go then. Did Entrama do it in 4? No, he did not. Here we go. What have we got? Arise. Interesting. Mount. Digit. Okay. Fight. Light. You got stuck on the old fight, light, sight, might. Did you? I mean, look, at least you did it. I fucking completely spaffed it. I got to the IGHT and then had a couple of guesses. I think I put might and fight, maybe. But I also spent so long obsessing about the IGT, and I was like, what can go between G and T? Except for the I and the U. I was like, what? There's not like Ligut, Migut. There's nothing like that. And I was like, oh, eventually I was like, oh, okay, fucking hell, H. Arise, Entrama. There you go. Well done. Folks, go and follow the fantastic Entrama. GeoGuessr expert. Wordle enthusiast. But not even a touch on Catherine or Goblin Toes, who got it in 3. Or Rustabler 7, who got it in fucking 2. Jesus. I'll have what you're having. Okay. He's done another one, this guy. Fucking brilliant.
Ich war nie auf einer Akademie. Und doch habe ich allein auf mich gestellt, ganz Europa erobert.
Is this just an extension of the other one? Oh, it is, isn't it?
Verräter. Von allem Anfang an bin ich so verraten und betrogen worden. Es wurde ein ungeheurer Verrat geübt am deutschen Volke. Aber alle diese Verräter werden bezahlen. Mit ihrem eigenen Blut werden sie bezahlen. Sie werden es saufen in ihrem eigenen Blut.
Bitte gerne. Jetzt beruhig dich doch.
Meine Befehle sind in den Wind gesprochen. Es ist unmöglich, unter diesen Umständen zu führen.
Party with Umph.
Es ist aus.
It's supposed to be Jacob Rees-Mogg, isn't
Ist
it?
verloren. Sie, meine Herren, glauben, dass ich deswegen Berlin verlasse. Irren Sie sich gewaltig.
Fucking hell,
Eher jage ich mir eine Kugel durch den Kopf.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? Johnson out is trending quite well. Brilliant. Word on enthusiast. Alright. It doesn't look like it. We're very slow to get reactions then. From the senior politicians. What's this video? Oh, yeah. What have we got? Any updates? Boris Johnson leaving Downing Street a few minutes ago ahead of his statement in the Commons. That's like a joke. I can't believe that's his actual face. Just make sure you don't look guilty. They'll be trying to see if you're guilty, alright? Just make sure you don't look guilty. Fucking hell. Brilliant. Brilliant. Even this guy looks guilty. Is that... Are you flipping us off? Have some fucking respect. The guilt. Like a dog that's ripped up the toilet paper. Oh. Hey, here we go. Laura Koonsberg, former BBC political editor, finally speaks on the matter. Sue Gray has also found 2 new events. A number 10 staff gathering in the Cabinet Office at 18th of June, another staff gathering in number 10 at 14th of Jan, a third event on the same day at 17th to 20th. Right, so she's just summarising the report as well. She said anything else? Summaries. Mostly just summaries. Who else is going to have something to say? Nick Robinson? Maybe. Many will be reading Sue Gray's report in the light of all the drama of the past week, i.e. what would it have said if the Met hadn't intervened? Haven't Tory MPs already decided to back off a leadership challenge? Let's wait but for the police report, etc, etc. But imagine you'd read 2 weeks ago that an official report would conclude that inside number 10 there had been a failure of standards and the public had a right to expect, and failure of leadership, and the police were investigating 12 parties. You'd think it was explosive. It still is. Nick Robinson encouraging us in the right direction there. Do I not follow Nick Robinson? Do I follow Laura Koonsberg? No. I have different accounts. Right. Who else do we need? Probably... See what Owen Jones has to say. Jonesy. Anything yet? Nothing yet. There we go. I guess we'll wait and see. A spokesman for Carrie Johnson told the Mail on Sunday yesterday, "It is totally untrue to suggest Mr. Johnson held a party in the Downing Street flat on November 13th, 2020. Ooh. If only Carrie Johnson's spokesman could be used as a way of saying that Johnson had broken the ministerial code. Hey, if only. Hey Alex, how you doing? Can't wait for Sajid to be PM. I think he's about 4th or 5th, isn't he? In the odds. How you doing, group of coffee? He stood there and a party appeared all around him, that's all I'll say. I like that ambushed with cake bit in that Hitler's bunker parody. Looks like a sneaky toddler who knows he spilled his Cheerios on the ground. Look at that face. Look at that face. This is Boris Johnson leaving Parliament just now on the way to his speech. The guilt. The sheer guilt. Genuinely deserves like a bit of a dunno, just one of them. Brilliant. Right, I'm still up. They'll come falling in one by one, I'm sure, these reactions. And then we'll have the statement. We're supposed to have the statement in 8 minutes, but I'm sure it'll be late. Although he is on his way, isn't he? So how long? Who knows how long it'll take him to get himself together. Boris Johnson voice. I can tell you the surprise factor of a piece of cake. Completely surprised. You too would be surprised if you were ambushed by cake. Ambushed by Colin Caterpillar, in fact, no less. There we go. Right. I might take the opportunity to run to the bathroom, folks. If I'm going to be sat here listening to Boris Johnson, I think many of us might need a quick piss. So, we'll leave you with a meme in the meantime. Leave you with a bit of, I'll leave you in Ken's hands. How about that? I'll leave you with Ken, and I'll just quickly run to the bathroom. Just be a few minutes. Make yourselves a drink, whatever you need to do. Exactly, pre-statement snack time. Back in a few, folks.
Because we have... In the name of Jesus. Oh, thank you, Jesus. I execute judgment on you, COVID-19. Oh, I execute judgment on you, Satan. You destroyer. You killer. You get out. You break your power. You get off this nation. I demand judgment on you. I demand a vaccination to come immediately. Yes.
We'll exercise judgment right now.
Because we have...
In the name of Jesus.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Standing in the office of the prophet of God, I execute judgment on you, COVID-19. I execute judgment on you, Satan. You destroyer. You killer. You get out. You break your power. You get off this nation. I demand judgment on you. I demand a vaccination to come immediately.
Yes.
I call you done. I call you doggone. You come down from your place of authority, destroyer. You come down and you crawl on your belly like God commanded you when he put his foot on your head in the Garden of Eden. You will destroy through COVID-19. No more!
No more. No more.
It
No more.
is finished. It is over. And the United States of America is healed and well again, saith the mighty.
Hallelujah. Glory.
Back. On piss left, Boris took it all. I like it. Right, I hope Ken took good care of you. Right, let's have a look. Parliament Live. They'll probably have the statement come in. When it does. Let's have a look. We can have the Indian Parliament. What's Sky News saying?
And actually,
They seem to be gathering. Imagine if he just resigns. Imagine if he just... Well, you've read it. And I'm here to say... This will be my last day as Prime Minister, I'm afraid. Good people of the United Kingdom, this is my last day as Prime Minister. I've made him sound more like Winston Churchill, haven't I? Or Minston Churchill, as I just called him. Any more updates from The Guardian? See, the thing is, even as I look at the front page of The Guardian, I feel like the things are going to take precedent. So you've got, obviously, the Sue Gray report, but then immediately you've also got this big red live update about Ukraine. So it's like, what are people really going to care about? Sure, this will take the attention for a while, but I think he may, I don't know, I worry that he's going to benefit from the sheer dumb luck of this happening right around the time where tension is really fucking escalating. So, and there you go. Brexit as well. As Goblin Toast said. Big old Brexit ball to throw for us all to chase. Ukraine versus Russia. Maybe you might have a point. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Big headline World War III. How well can people pay attention while that's going on? You have to wonder. Looks like they're kind of getting ready. If he just popped out and resigned, then it's time to buy lottery tickets. That would be some crazy kind of luck day. Yeah. Yeah. What are the odds at the moment for next PM, I wonder? Next Prime Minister... Prime Minister... What are the odds? So we've got Rishi Sunak, Simon Jordan. Rishi Sunak on top still. Simon Jordan. Sorry, what? Simon fucking Jordan. How's that swept in? Is that like a joke result? Can you even bet on that? Oh, somebody's done it as a joke. Right. So what's going on there? Then we've got Liz Truss. So Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak quite close in the odds there. And then Starmer, Jeremy Hunt, Tom Tugendhat, Penny Mordaunt, Michael Gove, Sajid Javid. There you go. If you're still here, Alex. Quite far down then. I thought he was at 4 or 5. Why is Sajid underneath Penny Mordaunt? How's that work? Penny Mordaunt, who's had nothing to say in the news for about a fucking year. I don't think. Unless I've missed something. So there you go. If he resigns, I'll eat my pants. I'll hold you to that. See Keir Starmer having a glass of water. Oh, what's happening here? What's going on here, eh?
Is the person you can see on your screen as he tries to fill, like we all are, waiting for the Prime Minister. But I think it is that mood. You saw last week when Boris Johnson appeared, essentially quite a lot of unhappy looks from the people sitting either side of him. The mood of the cabinet, I think, will be incredibly important. The faces of the cabinet will be scrutinised, along with just more generally the attitude of the backbenchers.
No.
Has it been the case that the Chief Whip has been able...
No, I'm afraid not. Look at, this is PMQs the other day. Not the other day. Last week. They weren't, I didn't see unhappiness. Have a look and see if you think that. I didn't see unhappy faces. I saw smarminess. Especially from, look at fucking Liz Truss. Is that unhappiness? Where is he? Are these unhappy faces? I don't know. I feel like they're reading too much into that one.
I'm sure honourable and right honourable members will welcome the opportunity to pay tribute at that point.
Here we go. How you doing, Riley? Good evening, mate.
I should inform the House that given the brief period of time available to review the report, I shall be allowing the leaders of the opposition a little longer to question the Prime Minister than is usually the case, and I'm sure the Prime Minister may wish a little longer as well at the beginning. I now come to the statement. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I would like to make a statement. And first, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Sue Gray and all the people who have contributed to this report, which I have placed in the library of this House and which the government has published in full today for everyone to read. I will address its findings in this statement, but firstly, I want to say sorry. And I'm sorry for the things we simply didn't get right, and also sorry for the way that this matter has been handled. And it's no use saying that this or that was within the rules. Again. There's no use saying that people were working hard. This pandemic was hard for everyone. We asked people across this country to make the most extraordinary sacrifices, not to meet loved ones, not to visit relatives before they died. And I understand the anger that people feel. But, Mr. Speaker, it isn't enough to say sorry. This is a moment when we must look at ourselves in the mirror and we must learn. And while the Metropolitan Police must yet complete their investigation, and that means there are no details of specific events in Sue Gray's report, I, of course, accept Sue Gray's general findings in full. And above all, her recommendation that we must learn from these events and act now.
There we go.
With respect to the events under police investigation, she says, and I quote, "No conclusions should be drawn or inferences made from this other than it is now for the police to consider the relevant material in relation to those incidents." But more broadly, she finds that there is significant learning to be drawn from these events, which must be addressed immediately across government.
HR.
This does not need to wait for the police investigations to be concluded. That is why we are making changes now.
There we go. There we go. Who called it? They're leaning on the actions that they can take now. Everything short of him fucking resigning. Clean up their act, put in policies. They're gonna fucking out policy everybody's doubt. Thank you for the lurk, Duchess. They're just gonna absolutely throw the fucking kitchen sink at policy and not do anything else. They've jumped through that fucking loophole, leaped through that loophole. Learn, so digging in his heels to stay. Yeah, exactly. In the name of God, man, go. Yeah. Yeah, hard for everyone. And a hard pandemic for everyone, has it? Has it been hard for you having your fucking birthday party in your public money paid for flat?
To the way Downing Street and the Cabinet Office run, so that we can get on with the job that I was elected to do, Mr. Speaker, and the job that this government was elected to do. First, it is time to sort out what Sue Gray rightly calls the fragmented and complicated leadership structures of Downing Street, which she says have not evolved sufficiently to meet the demands of the expansion of Number 10. And we will do that, including by creating an Office of the Prime Minister with a permanent secretary to lead Number 10. Second, Mr. Speaker, it is clear from Sue Gray's report that it is time not just to review the civil service and special...
Dominic Raab is not fucking listening. Look at Dominic Raab on the left. He's not even paying attention. Rishi Sunak is looking to see what the opposition party thinks of this, but he knows what's been said.
Advisor codes of conduct wherever necessary to ensure that they take account of Sue Gray's recommendations, but also to make sure that those codes are properly enforced. And third, I will be saying more in the coming days about the steps we will take to improve the Number 10 operation and the work of the Cabinet Office, to strengthen Cabinet government, and to improve the vital connection between Number 10 and Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I get it, and I will fix it. And I want to say, to the people of this country, I know what the issue is. Yes, Mr. Speaker, yes. It's whether this government can be trusted to deliver. And I say, Mr. Speaker, yes, we can be trusted. Yes, we can be trusted to deliver. We said that we would get Brexit done, Mr. Speaker, and we did.
Oh, stop it. Fucking really? Really? We're already talking about Brexit in like fucking 2 minutes into this statement. Jesus Christ. Wow. I know, Brexit. Bob the Builder. Fucking Bob the Builder for PM. How you doing, Peanut Pot Sauce? How bad is the report? It's incredibly vague. Shining example to use. He couldn't fucking help himself. Oh my god. I've heard cries of shame from the opposition. Did you hear that? Shame. Shame. Too fucking right. Oh my god.
We said that we would get Brexit done, Mr. Speaker, and we did. And we're setting up free ports around the whole United Kingdom. I've been to one of them today, which is creating tens of thousands of new jobs, Mr. Speaker. We said we would get this country through COVID, and we did. We delivered the fastest vaccine rollout in Europe and the fastest booster program of any major...
I mean, I almost don't want to get into it because it's completely fucking irrelevant to what's being talked about. But got this country through COVID. One, don't you think you're jumping the gun a bit? Two, we had one of the highest deaths per capita of any developed country in the fucking world. Come on, man. Hey, Skiddadeer, how you doing? I mean, what an absolute fucking desperate chucking out of distractions at us here. Grats on COVID being done. Yeah, fucking... honestly, let's hope he doesn't have time to do a Cersei. I don't want to see him naked. Christ, can you imagine? As much as the humiliation is deserved, nobody wants to see it. Whilst they were having parties. He's like, okay, I've apologised now, let's talk about other things, yeah. Desperate to move on.
Economy, so that we've been able to restore people's freedoms faster than any comparable economy. And at the same time, we've been cutting crime by 14%, building 40 new hospitals, and rolling out gigabit broadband, Mr. Speaker.
Rolling out gigabit broadband. Rolling out gigabit broadband. Abused the public trust with lockdown parties last year. Gigabit broadband. The sheer desperation to distract is absolutely fucking eye-watering. Absolutely eye-watering. Gigabit broadband. Abuse of public trust by breaching lockdown rules. I've never seen anything like it, honestly. It's his CV. He's basically throwing the government's CV in your face. Talked about the Sue Gray report for about a minute. He's probably already talked about the Tories' record longer than he's talked about the report now, up to this point.
all the promises of our 2019 agenda so that we have the fastest economic growth of the G7. We have shown that we have done things that people thought were impossible, Mr. Speaker, and that we can deliver for the British people. Mr. Speaker, I remind the benches opposite. The reason we're coming out of COVID so fast is at least partly because we doubled the speed of the booster rollout. And I can tell the House and this country that we are going to bring the same energy and commitment to getting on with the job, to delivering for the British people, and to our mission to unite and level up across this country, Mr. Speaker, and I commend this statement to the House.
Genuinely, I think that was about 60% bragging about various statistics that are completely fucking questionable, and 40% about the Sue Gray report. I think it was about 60-40 Tory stats thrown at you. 60% Tory stats thrown at you, 40% about the Sue Gray report, which is the whole reason that he was called to speak. I think that's probably the share that I saw. I don't know about you. Pie Dinner, thank you for the follow. I mean... Alright, well, we'll have questions. So, let's see. I've got to leave a quarter past. Let's... Starmer, here we go. Alright, I thought we'd have to wait a bit for Starmer, but we get him straight in. Let's see. Let me read a bit of chat first. You know what didn't help the country get out of COVID quickly? Legal mass gatherings. Exactly. This whole, we're one of the fastest countries to get back to normal. It's nothing to fucking brag about. The health secretary is going there on live TV talking about it's just like the flu. We need to live with it. The health secretary said on live TV last week, in a bad flu year, we lose about 20,000 people. What a fucking way to talk about public health. In a bad flu year, we lose about 20,000 people. Trading off numbers of us. We've lost over 150,000 people to COVID. Mostly dodgy stats, exactly. So many other factors involved in all of the ones that he's used there. The old CV Gish Gallop. Right, let's see what Starmer has to say. Is he going to attack?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank Sue Gray for the diligence and professionalism with which she's carried out her work. It's no fault of hers that she's only been able to produce an update today, not the full report. The Prime Minister repeatedly assured the House that the guidance was followed and the rules were followed. But we now know that 12 cases have reached the threshold for criminal investigation, which I remind the House means that there is evidence of serious and flagrant breaches of lockdown, including the party on the 20th of May 2020, which we know the Prime Minister attended, and the party on the 13th of November 2020 in the Prime Minister's flat.
Just to point out, I don't know if he's going to pull it off, but there couldn't be a more perfect... There couldn't be more perfect material for Starmer to work with, in theory, right? On paper, this is meant to be his fucking thing, innit? He's an ex-lawyer. Ex-QC. Rose to the fucking top of his profession. This is meant to be what he excels in now. He's got the evidence. He's going to make a compelling case for us, the public, the voting public, who are the jury. This should be an absolutely phenomenal boost for him. So it'd be interesting to see what he does with it. They're proud of how they've handled it when it's the bare minimum. Exactly. Does he mean 20,000 people die? Are they too scared to mention death? I know that's what he means. I think he said he said lose 20,000 people. So 20,000 people died, but he's basically comparing flu to COVID. I mean, despite the fact that flu doesn't have the long COVID symptoms in the vast majority of cases that we do see. It's just a ridiculous way to talk about human life. It's like, what numbers? These numbers versus those numbers. But anyway. So Starmer should really shine here, but let's see.
There can be no doubt that the Prime Minister himself is now subject to criminal investigation. The Prime Minister must keep his promise to publish Sue Gray's report in full when it is available.
Look at these two. Look at Johnson and fucking Raab shaking their heads.
Subject to criminal investigation. The Prime Minister must keep his promise to publish Sue...
Jacob Rees-Mogg as well is giving a bit of a...
The Prime Minister must keep his promise to publish Sue Gray's report in full when it is available. But it is already clear that the report discloses the most damning conclusion possible. Over the last 2 years, the British public have been asked to make the most heart-wrenching sacrifices. A collective trauma, endured by all, enjoyed by none. Funerals have been missed, dying relatives unvisited. Every family has been marked by what we've been through. And revelations about the Prime Minister's behaviour have forced us all to rethink and relive those darkest moments. Many have been overcome by rage, by grief, and even guilt. Guilt that because they stuck to the law, they did not see their parents one last time. Guilt that because they didn't bend the rules, their children went months without seeing friends. Guilt that because they did as they were asked, they didn't go and visit lonely relatives. But people shouldn't feel guilty. They should feel pride in themselves and their country, because by abiding by those rules, they've saved the lives of people they will probably never meet. They have shown the deep public spirit and the love and respect for others that has always characterised this nation at its best. Our national story about COVID is one of a people that stood up when they were tested. But that will be forever tainted by the behaviour of this Conservative Prime Minister. By routinely breaking the rules he set, the Prime Minister took us all for fools. He held people really sacrificing contempt. He showed himself unfit for office. His desperate denials since he was exposed have only made matters worse. Rather than come clean, every step of the way, he's insulted the public's intelligence. And now he's finally fallen back on his usual excuse. It's everybody's fault but his. They go, he stays. Even now, he is hiding behind a police investigation into criminality, into his home and his office. Mr. Speaker, he gleefully treats what should be a mark of shame as a welcome shield. But, Prime Minister, the British public aren't fools. They never believed a word of it. They think the Prime Minister should do the decent thing and resign. Of course he won't, because he is a man without shame. And just as he has done throughout his life, he's damaged everyone and everything around him along the way. His colleagues have spent weeks defending the indefensible, touring the TV studios, parroting his absurd denials, degrading themselves and their offices, fraying the bond of trust between the government...
Order. The member for South Ribble is my neighbour. I expect better from my neighbours.
Get him.
Keir Starmer.
Fraying the bond of trust between the government and the public, eroding our democracy and the rule of law. Margaret Thatcher once said, the first duty of government is to uphold the law. If it tries to bob and weave and duck around that duty when it's inconvenient, then so will the governed. Mr. Speaker, To govern this country is an honour,
fucking good.
not a birthright. It is an act of service to the British people, not the keys to a court to parade to your friends. It requires honesty, integrity, and moral authority. I can't tell you how many times people have said to me that this Prime Minister's lack of integrity is somehow priced in, that his behaviour and character don't matter. I have never accepted that, and I never will accept that. Whatever your politics, whichever party you vote for, honesty and decency matters. Our great democracy depends on it, and cherishing and nurturing British democracy is what it means to be patriotic. There are members opposite who know that, and they know the Prime Minister is incapable of it. The question they must now ask themselves is, what are they going to do about it? They can heap their reputations, the reputation of their party, the reputation of this country on the bonfire that is his leadership. Or they can spare the country from a Prime Minister totally unworthy of his responsibilities. It is their duty to do so. They know better than anyone how unsuitable he is for high office. Many of them knew in their hearts that we would inevitably come to this one day. And they know that as night follows day, continuing his leadership will mean further misconduct, cover-up and deceit. It is only they that can end this farce. The eyes of the country are upon them. They will be judged by the decisions they take now.
Prime Minister!
Very nice. Does he get a rebuttal? Fucking hell. I forgot they got a rebuttal to that. What do you think of that shit? That was very heavy. Very emotionally heavy, that one. You can see David Lammy's just reaching across to give him a good job there, I think. See that? Yeah, David Lammy just reached across to give him a little, well done, mate. Well done.
Prime Minister!
Well, Mr. Speaker, there's a reason why he said absolutely nothing about the report that was presented by...
He said nothing about the report. Are you fucking kidding me? Johnson, who spent fucking 60% of the time on his feet talking about Brexit and vaccines, says that Starmer doesn't mention the report. That's a bit of a hypocrisy, isn't it? I know, hats off to whoever wrote that. Very emotionally heavy. well delivered by SKSQC. Starmer just pawned Boris, flawless victory. Perfect. He's already dead. Let's jump back in.
This government and later put in the Library of the House earlier on today. That is because, Mr. Speaker, the report does absolutely nothing to substantiate the tissue of nonsense he has just spoken. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely.
Shout out to tissue of nonsense.
Nothing. Instead, Mr. Speaker, this leader of the opposition, a former Director of Public Prosecutions, Mr. Speaker, he spent most of his time prosecuting journalists and failing to prosecute Jimmy Savile, as far as I can make out, Mr. Speaker.
Whoa! Fucking hell, son. This is personal as fuck. Right, now, the Speaker didn't interrupt when Starmer said about, as he's done throughout his life, letting everybody down. So he probably isn't going to be able to intervene on that statement. But holy shit, this is a personal fucking series of exchanges. And Jesus Christ. It's proper, it's gone debate, bro. That's what it is. It's gone debate, bro. Really fucking personal. Super personal. Debate, bro level, really quickly. Oh, he's on the fucking ropes. He really feels on the ropes, doesn't he? You can tell. Yeah, he goes from exactly lemon poodle. He goes from humble to vicious in the blink of an eye. Johnson going for the low blow. Now under the ring for the steel chair. That was Mortal Kombat style. We've just got a fatality. See, fatality. Jimmy Savile, throwing Jimmy Savile at him. Starmer was involved in that case. And apparently Starmer was entirety to blame. Folks, if you're looking for somebody to blame for the Jimmy Savile debacle, look no further than Sir Keir Starmer, apparently. He's hazing out. Like, wow. How you doing, Scribbles? By God. I mean, let's have that again. Holy shit. He's gone to his happy place. Insta-sleep. Like Niles and Frasier when he's dealing with his divorce. Who's Jimmy Savile? Jimmy Savile was a very high-profile sexual predator. And there was a large kind of establishment cover-up of his crimes. Keir Starmer was at some point in time involved in the case, but is not in any way responsible for failing to catch Jimmy Savile, as Boris Johnson is just trying to fucking portray it there. Holy shit. Wow. By the way, folks, make sure you go follow the lovely Scribbles Hearts. Hope you're doing well. He was a TV show host, ran charities, usually did shows for kids. Yeah. Yeah, that was his CV. Fact check, no evidence UK's Keir Starmer was directly involved in failing prosecutor Jimmy Savile. Starmer was DPP when Savile's case got no further action. It was on his watch. So that's the argument. But ridiculous to say that he was responsible. Right, let's jump back in.
Journalists and failing to public prosecutions. This leader of the opposition, a former director of public prosecutions, Mr. Speaker, he spent most of his time prosecuting journalists and failing to prosecute Jimmy Savile, as far as I can make out, Mr. Speaker. He, Mr. Speaker, chose to use this moment. He used this moment, Mr. Speaker, continually to prejudge a police inquiry. That's what he chose to do. He's reached his conclusions about it. I'm not going to.
Just to, I know, you know, I'm not a fucking Starmer stan, but I just want to point out misinformation wherever it lies. Fact check. This is from Reuters. Just in case you need it. Fact check. No evidence UK's Keir Starmer was directly involved in failing to prosecute Jimmy Savile. Right, let's jump straight back into this.
That's what he chose to do. He's reached his conclusions about it. I'm not going to reach any conclusions, and he would be entirely wrong to do so. And I direct him again, Mr. Speaker, to what Sue Gray says in her report about the conclusions that can be drawn from her inquiry about what the police may or may not do. Now, Mr. Speaker, I have complete confidence in the police, and I hope that they will.
He's fuming. Oh my God.
Conclusions that can be drawn from her inquiry about what the police may or may not do.
Wouldn't you be if you were accused of failing to prosecute Britain's most high-profile sexual predator? You'd probably be quite angry as well. This is sunken to a really personal level. Is he accusing Starmer of failing to help prosecute Savile? Yeah, that's exactly what he's accused him of. Failing to prosecute Jimmy Savile was the quote. Really personal.
Mr. Speaker, I have complete confidence in the police, and I hope that they will be allowed simply to get on with their job. And I don't propose to offer any more commentary about it, and I don't believe that he should either. And I must say to him that what I think the country, with greatest respect to the benches opposite, what I think the country wants us all in this House to focus on is
the greatest respect now. With the greatest respect.
Country want us all in this House to focus on.
Rabiadafty, thank you very much for the follow.
Is the issues that matter to them. And getting on, Mr. Speaker, with taking this country forward. And Mr. Speaker, today we have delivered yet more Brexit freedoms with a new Freeport in Tilbury, as I said, when he voted 48 times to take this country back into the EU. Mr. Speaker, we have the most open society, most open economy. Mr. Speaker, this is, I think, what people want us to focus on. We have the most open society, most open economy in Europe because of the vaccine.
This is unbelievable. This, Mr. Speaker, is what I think people want us to focus on. The arrogance of a man who's called to make a statement on something incredibly specific. This report is not about their COVID performance. This is not about anything to do with their unemployment record, anything to do with their record on crime. This is all about breaking lockdown rules last year. The nerve to stand there and say, Mr. Speaker, I think people would rather hear about this. You're there for one reason, and one reason only, to talk about the Sue Gray report, which is all about you breaking lockdown rules.
Vaccine rollout because of the booster rollout, and never forget, Mr. Speaker, that he voted to keep us in the European Medicines Agency, which would have made that impossible. And today, Mr. Speaker, we are standing together with our NATO allies against the potential aggression of Vladimir Putin.
There it is. There it is. I'm surprised it took him so long. I'm surprised it took him so fucking long to mention Ukraine. He's really throwing the fucking kitchen sink at this. Everything except what we're here to talk about. Everything. He should have shut him down. At this point, Callis, like, I don't know how he hasn't. Presumably, I suppose maybe he thinks he's given even time, but at this point, it's so irrelevant to what they're talking about. Starmer didn't go this irrelevant. Starmer stayed on topic. Now, it was incredibly liberal with the rules of what you can say in the Commons, right? And the Speaker allowed that. But you can't go this far outside of what they're talking about, surely. It's so irrelevant to the topic. It is eye-watering. It really is. I know I keep saying that, but it's the only way that I can think of describing it. You just almost can't believe the arrogance of what you're seeing. We're here to talk about one thing, and he's talking about everything else. He's a walking tabloid newspaper.
Allies against the potential aggression of Vladimir Putin when he wanted, not so long ago, to install a Prime Minister, a Labour leader who would actually have abolished NATO, Mr. Speaker. That's what he believes in. Those are his priorities. Well, I can say to him, he can continue with his political opportunism. We are going to get on, and I am going to get on with the job.
Theresa May.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Wow. Holy shit. It's, you know, it's quite unbelievable that he doesn't get to come back against that. It'd be interesting to see what Theresa May has to say. I reckon Theresa May is probably also going to rip him a new arsehole. And so that should be quite interesting. 313 Sperry, how you doing? Thank you. He's a walking tabloid newspaper. Abolishing NATO? Like, everything you could possibly think of that's got nothing to do with this. It is unbelievable. Why are they all cheering? I mean, that's what worries you, is that they are already, so many of them are rallying behind him. And it shows that so many of them were ready to pounce and rally behind him as soon as this was published. God, I haven't got long to go. So I'm going to carry on, folks. I mean, this is what we've seen here today is really like dirty fucking politics. It really, really is.
The COVID regulations impose significant restrictions on the freedoms of members of the public. They had a right to expect their Prime Minister to have read the rules, to understand the meaning of the rules, and indeed those around him to have done so too, and to set an example in following those rules. What the Gray report does show is that Number 10 Downing Street was not observing the regulations they had imposed on members of the public.
Here we go.
So either my right honourable friend had not read the rules, or didn't understand what they meant, and others around him, or they didn't think the rules applied to Number 10. Which was it?
Fucking fantastic. That's a leader of the fucking opposition question. Either you didn't understand the rules, or you didn't want to follow the rules, you didn't think they applied to you. It's weird to be in the position where I'm fucking cheering for Theresa May. I don't like that. This is a weird day. It's a weird day. Obviously, he's just going to completely whiffle waffle the answer to that question. But here we go. May from the crowd. And yeah, the answer is it doesn't apply to him. But presumably the answer will be, I've apologised, let's move on, or something to that of that nature.
Prime Minister! With respect to my right honourable friend.
It's a very important question. I want to hear the answer, even if other people don't. Prime Minister.
No, Mr. Speaker, that is not what the Gray report says. It is not what the Gray report says. But if she,
I think David Lammy rose to his feet there. Have a look at David Lammy. Second last to the right there. I think he actually jumps to his feet when he says that.
It is not what the Gray report says. But if she... The Gray report says. It is not what the Gray report says. But if she... I suggest that she waits to see the conclusion of the inquiry.
I now come to the leader of the SNP.
What a way to sneak out of that question. Actually, that's not what that said. So your question is invalid. All right. Let's have Ian Blackford, leader of the SNP in the House of Commons, who I can only imagine is going to be fucking yelling across the Commons at him. But it should be good. I'm looking forward to this level of aggression, and then we'll leave it there.
Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I say it's a pleasure to follow the former Prime Minister, and perhaps her behaviour in office, like many that went before her, was about dignity, about the importance of the office, of respect, of truthfulness.
This is brilliant. Ian Blackford as well finds himself compelled to compliment Theresa May. It's a weird day. It's a weird day. Upholding the duty and dignity of the office. Theresa May there. Of course, what she's known for most of all is not that, but there you go. It's a weird day.
And the Prime Minister will be well advised to focus on those that have not dishonoured the office like he has done. Mr. Speaker, we stand here today faced with the systematic decimation of public trust in government and the institutions of the state, and at its heart, a Prime Minister being investigated by the police. So here we have it, the long-awaited Sue Gray report. What a farce. It was carefully engineered to be a fact-finding exercise with no conclusions.
Establishment cover-up.
Now we find it's a fact-finding exercise with no facts. So let's talk facts. The Prime Minister has told the House that all guidance was completely followed. There was no party. COVID rules were followed, and that I believed it was a work event. Nobody believed him then. And nobody believes you now, Prime Minister. That is the crux. No ifs, no buts. He has willfully misled Parliament. It's bad enough.
Order! Inadvertent misled the House would be acceptable. Misled the House is not acceptable. Withdraw or invert.
One of the ancient rules of Parliament there, folks, just to give a bit of context if you don't know, is that you can't directly say that somebody misled Parliament in the House of Commons, because that's basically more or less a crime that will lead to your forceful resignation. You have to say that somebody inadvertently lied, basically. He won't get chucked out for that, I don't think. He'll probably take it back, but let's have a look.
The Prime Minister inadvertently told the House on the 8th of December that no parties had taken place, and then had to admit that they had. It's bad enough, Mr. Speaker, that the Prime Minister's personal integrity is in the ditch, but this murky business is tainting everything around it. It is our intention to submit a motion instructing the Prime Minister to publish the Gray report in full. Will the Prime Minister obey an instruction by this House to publish as required? Mr Speaker, amidst allegations of blackmail by Tory whips, the members opposite have been defending the indefensible. Wait for the report, we were told. That's right. Well, here it is, and it tells us very little, except it does state that there were failures of leadership and judgment by different parts of Number 10. It states that some events should not have been allowed to take place. That is the Prime Minister's responsibility. If there is any honour in public life, then he would resign. Where is this? And he laughs. And the Prime Minister laughs. We ought to remind ourselves in this House that 150,000 plus of our citizens have lost their lives. Family members that couldn't be with them. And that is the sight that people will remember. A Prime Minister laughing at our public. I extend the hand of friendship to all those that have sacrificed. I certainly do not extend the hand of friendship to the Prime Minister, who is no friend of mine. Where is the shame? Where is the dignity? Meanwhile, the police investigation will drag on and on. Every moment the Prime Minister stays, trust in government and the rule of law is ebbing away. The litany of rule breaking, the culture of contempt, the utter disdain for the anguish felt by the public who have sacrificed so much. What the public see is a man who has debased the office of Prime Minister, shrinked responsibility, dogged accountability and blamed his staff at every turn, presided over sleaze and corruption and tainted the very institutions of the state. In short, Mr Speaker, this is a man... Well, they can laugh, but the public know. The public know this is a man they can no longer trust. He has been investigated by the police. He misled the House. He must now resign.
Order. You'll have to withdraw that last comment.
Mr Speaker, I gave the evidence of the 8th of December.
Order. You're going to have to withdraw misled.
Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister has misled the House.
He's fighting it.
Unless you withdraw, I'll have to stop, and that's not good. Just withdraw the words.
I am standing up for my constituents that know that this Prime Minister has lied and misled the House.
Yes.
Give me the paper. Give me the paper. Inadvertently misled. I'll give you one more chance. As leader of the SNP, I don't want to have to throw you out. I'm going to give you this chance.
I'd be fucking milking this, man. This shit will go viral. Do you know what I mean? What's your choices of this? Withdraw your comment and sit back down and that's the end of your statement. Or say that he lied again, get kicked out for the rest of the day, and it goes a bit viral on Twitter. You know what? What would you do? I know what I would fucking do.
Increase to power. That man has misled the House.
Yes. Out you go.
Shut up. I'm sorry it's...
Just told them to shut up. It's exactly what I would do. What else would you do? Fucking lied.
Shut up. I'm sorry it's come to this, and I'm sorry that the leader of the party has not got the decency to just withdraw those words in order that this debate can be represented by all political leaders.
Oh, stop it.
Would you like to inadvertently?
Speaker, if the Prime Minister has inadvertently misled the House, then I will state that.
Right, we're going to leave it at that. Prime Minister.
Oh, brilliant. He's managed to kind of say it without saying it. If the Prime Minister has inadvertently led the House, then I'll admit that. That's brilliant. But he still got away with calling him a liar. That's great. That's brilliant. I hope the media picks up on that. Blackford's decency is what being questioned by the House. Yeah, I know. Absolutely ridiculous. What a fucking news day, eh? I wasn't excited until we got to the Commons. I must say, it's been a while since I've looked at Keir Starmer and thought, you've got a real fucking leadership quality. But today is one of those days, admittedly. He took him to task. He did his job today. And that will hopefully make a difference. That was a really fucking emotional speech. How you doing, Joker Rabbit? Don't count on the MSM to pick up on anything important. Maybe not. I'm glad you enjoyed it as well, Roystad. This Blackfoot, he's had enough of this shamble of a wrestling match. By God. Never know how it's going to go. It could have gone either way. I know Scribbles, what a way to start the week. Absolutely fucking thrashed him. Oh my God, folks. Well, there you go. I mean, he's not resigned, but for now, it's pretty good, isn't it? Blood's in the water. We've got the report. It's not... The vagueness of the report still makes me think it's kind of open for them to escape with that one. But... the opposition parties have done what I hoped they would do. Thank you for the follow, Joker Rabbit. They have done what I hoped they would do, which is dive on the opportunity to really fucking go for it. And really actually take it to him. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that actually the pressure keeps turning up.